Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the RLSA. I mean, honestly, I don't even know what this is. It's not even a presentation no more. This is just something. I'm here alongside with Malachi. My name is Chase.
Yep,
Yep.
Malachi here.
All right. All right. Well, the RLSA is actually not a thing anymore. Goodbye. That's the stream.
For
Imagine.
real.
That's what everybody thought we were gonna say at this point. But we were.
Draft was bait.
Yeah, the draft was bait. We're actually here for the season 13 draft. Believe it or not, very very exciting moment. Uh, and also just a little rundown. I mean, obviously we all know that life is life, and so the RLSA has been delayed a little bit, but we're here. It's starting. So put everything behind us. And let's just go ahead and, you know, get straight into what we're looking for tonight, Malachi. So obviously we know season 13 draft involves all these teams with picks to get a new player on their organization. And, when you look at the draft board, we are stacked. We have 8 grand champs in this draft tonight. So expect a lot of new starters and a lot of just new players overall. I mean, we still have a heck of a draft board. So I mean, what do you think about it, Malachi?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing to have so many high-ranked players because there are some teams that have none right now. No starters, no subs, just no players. Such as the Volts, I believe Quantum, and I think the Bobcats as well. So that's three teams with no players currently. So I don't know. I think drafting these, you know, being able to get two GCs just off of the draft is going to be a really solid, starting roster, which is definitely good for those that have picks.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of managers have been doing their scouting, looking over all the players, making sure they know coming into this draft who is going to be the best fit for them. So, um, before we get straight into the draft, we're gonna go ahead and just go over the rules and what's about to take place here. So, um, first of all, we all know that MMR plays a huge factor. So some teams, again, already have starters on their team. Some don't. So we can look forward to that in the draft. Um, but a lot of people are looking for new starters. So the MMR cap is 3,200. So when you see a player, we'll talk about their MMR and stuff and how they'll fit into the team and yada yada. And then also, each team has 5 minutes on the clock. So um, if the manager fails to put a pick in 5 minutes, they will have an auto draft. So um, be on the lookout for that. And also trades are also available. We could see a trade up at any moment. Uh, Teams can trade up picks in this draft or even future drafts. So this is something to be looking out for throughout the draft. But the draft order is obviously the most important thing, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a rundown on that. The first team that's going to be picking will be the Volts, so obviously they have a lot of power here
Mhm.
tonight, especially with the chance to get a 1700 rated overall player. And then the Bobcats, back to back picks, 2 and 3, very crucial for that rebuild on that team. Um, that team unfortunately had Prowler who got traded. I mean, he got traded for the number 3 pick, so obviously take it. But one of the players retired from them last season, so Bobcats looking for that number 2 pick maybe to replace him. And then number 4, we have the Eradicators. There's another team that had a couple trades throughout the offseason, getting rid of Caleb J. And as of currently right now, they have Sean on their starting roster. So um, maybe looking to get a new starter ahead of that. Obviously, no disrespect to Sean, but this league has gotten a lot more competitive, and especially with a lot of GCs on the board, I don't think Champs could hold up as a starter, but um, that's just my personal take on it. But again, it's all up to the manager for that decision. And then at number 5 pick, we have the Volts back on the clock, um, continuing that rebuild as they get rid of Maokai. Um,
Um,
Uh, yeah,
You
they,
there?
they they got rid of him. But as we continue to move on, number 6, defenders actually traded up for this pick earlier today. Traded with the elite to get the number 6 pick. Malachi is dipping on us. No, I'm joking. Are you back, Malachi? Bro's interrupting the countdown, or the not the countdown. I don't even know. You hear, Malachi? We should probably take care of this beforehand. All right. Well, Malachi's having technical difficulties, so we'll get back to him in a second. But
Oh wait, no,
oh,
I cannot hear you for. I just now am able to hear you again. That's so strange.
all right. Well, yay.
Okay, whatever. Just I'm here now.
Yeah. All right.
I'm back.
Anyways, defenders. Quick rundown. They traded for K Dogs. K Dogs retired, and so now they're looking for another starter. So Rich obviously has that minus 100 MMR off this contract, so they could get a big player in this draft. The Wingdings have Luke and Geyser, possibly just looking to get a sub in this draft. They have 2 picks, so 7 and 9, and then number 8 is at Quantum. Quantum looking to rebuild as they don't have any players on their roster right now. Both of the players retired after last season, so maybe completing that rebuild, starting off in the draft, maybe picking up a free agent in the meantime. And then Elite, finishing off with 3 of the picks, 10, 11, and 12. They also are looking for a starter and possibly just more players to just go on their sub and reserve spots. So a lot to look forward to, but I think at this point we need to just go ahead and get drafting because we are already late. But sorry to keep you guys waiting for that. But now, as you guys can see, the volts are now going to be on the clock. And my timer does not work. Yay! Alright. Well, folks, that's great. Alrighty. Now they're on the clock. So, about that, Malachi, give me a couple thoughts on how the Volts did last season.
Not really willing to talk about that. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I don't know. Last season the Volts obviously came dead last as they have the first pick this season, which is not obviously not good for them, but I mean last season, but this season it means that it is good for them because they, like you mentioned, have the potential to get Albert, a 1700 rated player. And with so many other GCs in here, I'm confident that they're going to be able to pick up at least another 1500 because there's, I mean, like 9 other GCs or something like that. So, I don't know. I think that this is going to be a pretty successful roster off the draft for the Volts specifically. Yeah, so hopefully they can do better this season than they did last.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, they have nobody on their team, so they're looking for a full rebuild. But as we do approach we almost neared a minute and a half, but the pick is in. Obviously, the manager, Ramboy, looking to get his team in the right direction, and so this first pick could be crucial. But for the number 1 pick in the RLSA Season 13 draft, the Volts select Albert. So, I mean, Albert, you look in the draft, 1700 rated MMR, best player in the draft. Probably the best pick that Volts could have asked for. So, congrats to them. And, I mean, what's your thoughts, Malachi? Oh, I think he's okay. Malachi's having issues tonight. This is sad. But yeah. Well, I guess nobody's gonna talk, so I'll just talk for him. Albert 1700 rated, so his teammate can be 1500 at the max. So Ramboy with the fifth pick, probably going to have to play around that. That's why some players are not, some of the better players aren't going to go as high because, um, when you have a really good player on your team, you can't just draft the best players. You have to fit that MMR cap. So doing that is very important as a manager.
Right. And excuse me, I don't know what's happening if it's my Wi-Fi or my Discord, but I keep randomly cutting out and like my connection is losing. So if I'm just not talking, that's most likely why. Um, so I don't really know what's up with that. It's the first time that I've had this problem, but we move. Uh,
We do move. Well, um, as you probably can tell, that pick is over. So we're gonna go ahead and move into the Bobcats pick, which now they are on the clock.
Albert, yeah, Volts picked Albert.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. I'm not shocked. Yeah, I do definitely think that was the right move.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think the Volts could be a pretty stacked team this season.
I mean, Volts. I mean, looking at their history, bro, they've had some pretty good rosters. Never mind. Actually, Malachi was on one of those rosters.
Yeah, real. No, last season, like the
Okay, dude, I feel so bad.
I
For him.
thought it was
Oh,
underpowered. Like we were significantly under the MMR cap. And so while I don't blame my teammate at all, and I do completely take fault for our failure in the RLSA because I just choked almost every single game. Um, I do think that probably had something to do with it, just that we were so far below the MMR cap.
yeah.
But this season seems like that's not going to be the problem for them. Volts, I mean, I wish that franchise the best. I Cool name. So
Yeah, cool name. I mean, honestly, the Volts, they've gotten enough credit here on the stream already. We can go ahead and talk about the Bobcats here. They also have the number 3 pick after this pick, so they'll be on the clock twice. But when you think about this Bobcats team, they had a stacked roster last season, but unfortunately, one of their players had to retire. And so they came second to last in the season. And now they have no players on their team after trading Prowler. So looking for a complete rebuild here, too. Their manager Ashton, he's looking to take his his favorite franchise of all time to go get another Scrub Cup. They won it in season 11, and season 12 was not their season, but maybe this is a bounce back season. You still have great talent on the table here, and and when you look at the rosters for all these other teams, young talent is not there. You don't get many 13, 14 year olds in the league, but we have a player here named Scoops who is 13 years old. So if you want to get someone that can grind the game, I mean, there you go.
is he really 13? I thought he was older than that.
He is indeed 13.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think with back-to-back picks and a cap of 3,200, there's two 1,600s right here on the board. And even if the Bobcats, if Ashton doesn't choose to go with those two specifically, if he goes with Scoops, he could have Z-Pool or Apple, which are both still two very solid GC players. Um, so I don't know. I think this is going to be a good season for the Bobcats as well, just because of how good the rookies are this season.
Yeah. And we are nearing a minute and a half left for the Bobcats with their second pick, so still waiting on them to do this. And also, I think this would be a great time to tell you, I am so sorry for the scuff stream. You probably can see me typing. We've not done this in a while, so we're just going with the flow here. So yeah, but
Yeah, just trying to get back into the swing of things. The long break really does that to you.
Scoops in the chat saying he is 16. So someone just lied to me. That is amazing
Yeah,
news.
I knew it. He did not.
Oh, and there goes Malachi. Well, uh, Malachi is no longer with us for like 3 seconds, but ooh. Well, the Bobcats pick is about to be in. They have 20 seconds. Ashton has 20 seconds to make a pick. So we will see how that goes. Um, Scuff streams are the best streams. I agree. I do
Oh,
agree
I'm
with
back
that.
now.
Oh, you're back. Let's go.
Dude, this is the weirdest issue. I have never had this before. Anyways, I changed Scoops to be 16 on the spreadsheet now, so that should be good. Still waiting on Ashton's pick, I believe, right?
The pick is in. We will
Oh,
give it
okay.
a second here just to confirm that this is the right pick. All right. Well, the pick is indeed in. So in the season 13 RLSA draft with the number 2 overall pick, the Bobcats select Scoops.
Yeah, yeah. No surprise, honestly. Second highest in MMR. Not surprised that he went as the second pick. This
This, bro, dude, this is just amazing. This, yeah, I like that explanation a lot, Malachi. Honestly, I'll finish this statement here. This is a good pick. Um, Obviously, still young, 16 years old. Definitely still has a lot of time to, play the game, get better, and 16-25. This is a good player. This is a player who can compete in the league and also can lead a team, mechanically, decision making wise. He's definitely a player that can do that, and so I'm sure Ashton looked into that player and is happy with his pick. But I mean, they are on the clock again, so we'll just go ahead and reset everything here because Bobcats again traded up for the number 3 pick, trying to pair 2 rookies together. Malachi, are you here or no?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
I keep going on like these rants, and then I hear no response from you, and then I'm like, oh wait, did I cut out? So I tab over the stream, and I hear you like joking about how I'm gone again.
Dude, you just cut off with this. And I was just like waiting for you, and then I realized when it happened. Oh, dude, that was so funny.
Yeah, I was basically just saying, makes sense that he went as number 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if they draft Z-Pool next, so that they could, fit that MMR cap perfectly and get the best bang for their buck.
Yeah, and I mean, oh wow, okay, well, the pick is in. I have just got information there, so the pick is indeed in. We can go ahead and see who they have picked here. Just go ahead and confirm it. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with the number 3 pick in the season 13 RLSA draft, the Bobcats have selected Mr. E. And so, when you look at this, Ashton's playing a very weird draft right here. He's going for, a 16-25, who obviously starting roster, very good pick. But then he goes for another 1600, which doesn't fit the MMR cap. So maybe he is looking into something that we do not know, or maybe he knows something that we don't. But we've seen a lot of teams do this in the past, where they've done something like this, and it works out really well for them. So we can just see how this turns out for the Bobcats. I don't hate the pick. I also am a little confused at it. Malachi, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was completely expecting him to go with Z-Pool, as I had said already, but I don't know. I feel like there is definitely potential with this pick. Obviously, this can't be their starting roster as it doesn't fit the cap, but he could, potentially trade one away, um, using his pick to get the best possible players. So then he could maybe trade away for somebody who's a bit lower in MMR and as well get like a pick for next season or something. So in that way, he ends up getting actual more assets. But I'm interested to see what he ends up doing.
Yeah, I mean, Ashin, he's a good GM. Uh, he's been leading his team even back in the early days of the RLSA when a player could be a GM itself, and so he's been doing this job for a long time, and he's won 3 championships, so he knows what he's doing. So, uh, trust just trust the process. That's what they say. Well,
Yeah.
when we look into the number 4 pick in the draft here, the Eradicators are going to be on the clock here. So go ahead and see who they have on their mind. And I mean, when you think about the Eradicators in this draft, they're one of the few teams in the league that have a full roster right here. So, I mean, when you have Gorgia on your team and Yizzy on your team, it's not a bad roster, but on paper it does not compete for a title. And no disrespect to those players, but it's true. I mean, you look at Noka and Prowler, for instance, on the Landers, 1700 MMR and 1500 MMR compared to a 1300 and a 1500. So when you kind of compare those two on paper, it doesn't go in the Eradicators' favor. So maybe they look for a new starting player here. What do you think,
Yeah.
Malachi?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I went over to check their roster, and they are severely undersized, With the MMR cap being 3,200, they only have about 2,800 MMR used up in their current starting roster. And they have a sub as well, who's even less. So I'm going to assume they're just going for one of the higher players, such as Nash or Z-Pool, just so that they could get closer to that MMR cap, get as much talent on their team as they can. Because like you mentioned, I'm not sure how their current roster would really survive, but at the end of the day, it is up to them,
They could
and we'll
tank.
we'll see what they pick.
They could tank. Let's be real here.
Yeah, that's what the
um,
Volts did last season.
that's what the Volts franchise is known for. Just losing and tanking. Well, the pick is in. So, uh, good to see that the Eradicators have a player on their mind here. So, with the number 4 pick in the Season 13 RLSA draft, the Eradicators select Nash 925.
Yeah. Yep, that sounds about right. Like I said, I think they're just trying to beef up their roster as much as possible. They're still about 100 MMR away from the cap, assuming they play Nash and Georgia as their starters. But then that also means that they would have a full 4-player roster, including a sub and a reserve. So they definitely have enough assets to trade, possibly, or to just, keep if they'd like to do that. But this is for sure a good pick as it gets them much closer to that MMR cap than they were before, and makes their team a lot more threatening.
I'd like to mention they are the Eradicators must love their older folks because Ao, who has sadly left us and retired, he was 27 years old. Still young. I mean, we're not going to discriminate age here. But compared in Rocket League terms, that's a little bit older than your average teenager. But they just drafted a 37-year-old, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we were gonna have a blast when you see the Eradicators versus Fire. When you see a 37-year-old versus a 40-year-old, this is gonna be that's gonna be an insane matchup right there. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is excited for that, but I mean, I don't know. We got some older folks in here, and it's great to see that. It's great to see that. But as we move on to the next pick in the draft here, the Volts will be back on the clock here, so we can go ahead and see what they got in store for us. And man, who do you think they go to here, Malachi? Who do you think they go to here? Oh, I don't think Malachi's here. Wow, that's just kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
Are you here?
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
What? Okay. Well, I could hear you that whole time, which is strange. So to answer your question, I obviously think they're just trying to hit the MMR cap, just like every other team. So they're going for a 1500, trying to get either Jank XNZ, or TP. One or the other. I think both would be solid options, but we'll see what they end up picking.
And I mean, we've seen TP in the RLSA before, but granted, he was not here for the redrafts, so he will be considered a rookie. So, yeah, that's how that goes. If you're wondering why TP's in this draft, he was not here with the veteran redraft. So, yeah, I mean, the Volts, this could complete their rebuild here. We could see some potential superstar team maxing out on the cap, having an insane two-man roster. It's good for this team, good for the management, and I'm glad to see that the Volts are actually looking good for once. But
they were just created, right? They've only played one season.
yeah, they have only played one season, so
Yeah. So not a very long record, but also not a very good one, as they came dead last.
They're like the Charlotte Hornets, bro, or like the Bobcats. Not these Bobcats, the NBA Bobcats, if y'all know what I'm talking about.
I don't, but
okay.
Yeah, we'll go with it.
I don't know. All right, well, the pick is in, so good to know that we have someone here. And so with the number fifth, all right, with the number, yeah, with the fifth pick in the RLSA draft, the Volts have selected Jenks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good pick.
Yep.
Jenks comparatively to Tyler, I think Jenks is more available with scheduling, and I think he plays more. So I would, yeah, I'm not really surprised that they picked him, but I wouldn't sleep on TP either, as he's a pretty solid player as well.
Yeah, and I mean, Jenks obviously. I mean, I've obviously talked to this man a little bit. I've never played with him, but obviously there was no combines. These managers are going off, what they've seen with their own eye and also what they've heard. And so if you're hearing good things about Jenks, obviously taking him here at number 5 is just something you should be happy about. And I don't think Ramboy's gonna be mad at this pick at all for his future here. So with that being said. We are again having a team on the clock, and that team finally we see a new face here in the draft. The Defenders are going to be on the clock here, so as we get this going here, and Malachi has dipped again. The Defenders will be on the clock here, so we will await their pick. Hello, Malachi, again. All right. Well, we will wait for Malachi to talk to me, but I will go ahead and start us off here about the defenders in last season. You know, they made it to the they made it to the man, where did they go? The lower final, I believe. Um, you know, obviously upsetting the Fire in 6 games last season. That was really big for that franchise, and able to have a good season. But Joe Dune and Rich split up over the offseason, and then Rich was expected to play with K Dogs, but unfortunately, um, was not able to due to K Dogs retiring. So um, defenders have an empty slot at the starter. So um, something also to note about this team is that Rich has signed his extension, but he's also taken 100 MMR off of his current MMR. So that means he will be plus 100 whatever next season. But this season, you can tell that he's going for the cup. Obviously, now being able to play with, he would actually be able to play with this high 1600, but it doesn't really matter now because all the 1600s are off the board. But we still have Z-Pool there available. And we also have Apple and Creative Striker. A lot of good names. So as we await this pick here.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, actually, as soon as I say that, the pick is in.
Oh, really?
But what are we gonna say? What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say that he does have some pretty solid options. I know he's played with, I'm sure, all of these people, so I'm interested to see which one of them he ends up picking between Zpool, Apple, and Creative Striker.
Yeah. Well, I do know the answer to that, so I will share it with all you guys. For the number 6 pick in the RLSA Season 13 draft, the defenders select Z-Pool.
Yep, makes sense from a MMR standpoint. He's the highest in the room.
Ayo, reference to Travis Scott. Anybody watch Utopia or watch Real?
Watch Utopia.
Yeah, you guys watch. Listen to Utopia. Fire album.
It was pretty good.
Is it the best album? No. Definitely not album of the year. I know I can name one better. I won't name it.
Okay, well,
I won't name it publicly.
Let's try and get back to this draft here, man. So they selected Z-Pool, which I think is a good pick. However, I was honestly slightly expecting him to select Creative Striker, as he, in my opinion, is kind of a steal for the MMR he's at, because he's very good mechanically, and he's pretty good with his ground game as well. So I don't know. I think he's pretty underrated in this draft so far.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily say that. I mean, it is only a 25 MMR difference, but he did go for the highest MMR, which again, not a bad idea whatsoever. If that player's claimed that MMR and they've achieved it, that must mean something, right? Well, as we move on to the 7th pick in the draft here, the Wingdings will be on the clock. So, as we wait their pick here, we can go ahead and take a look at this roster. I mean, the Wingdings, they've already got their 2 starters apparently. They have Geyser and Luke, and so. Yeah. I mean, this team obviously looking at 3,000 compared to 3,200, so for the cap. So they have 200 MMR to work with here, and potentially could put Luke at the sub spot. You know, we obviously have players that are almost 100 MMR above him. But what do you think they do here? Do you think they take a new starter or what?
I mean, I would think so. Like, why would you waste the draft pick? You know, so even if you're not going to play him as a starter, even if you have this roster as set in stone, you know, picking somebody who's high MMR like Creative Striker or Apple RL just would be good. It'd just be a good asset, even if you're just going to trade them. So I would, yeah, I'm guessing one of the two. The two highest.
Yeah, and we do have a pick in. So, Man, this is something here. I actually forgot to put up the timer. Unlucky, but it is within the 5 minutes, so they are chilling. um, that was unfortunate there. I'm not gonna lie, but again, like I said, we're not used to this. It's been a long time. Am I right, Malachi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing it, not me. You're, I'm sure, doing way better than I would. But
I mean, appreciate that, but probably doing that, I'd probably do the same. Um, but, ladies and gentlemen, for the seventh pick in the RLSA Season 13 draft, the Wingdings have selected Creative Striker.
yeah, yep, that makes sense. Um, Geezer, I believe.
It's Geyser.
Uh,
Gosh. It's
well,
Geyser.
potato, potato.
Okay.
Geyser, I believe, is at least 1600 now. So I don't know if we're gonna update his MMR or not later, but he's definitely gone up quite a bit from 1525. But he should
Who we talking
still
about? Who we
fit
talking about?
with
Who we talking about?
Geyser.
Oh, Geyser. Nope. His contract has solidified him as a 1525.
Okay. Well,
So,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
even still, he would fit the MMR cap with a creative striker if they choose to put him in over Luke.
Yeah.
Maybe move Luke to sub or maybe trade Luke or creative striker. We'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah. I mean, um, Quantum following that up, following that pickup, they're now on the clock. They have nobody on their team compared to the Wingdings. Wingdings, Wingdings definitely looking good for their spot. Sorry to not talk about them. I was kind of focused on uh, resetting everything, but
You're good. You're good.
Quantum is now on the clock here. 5 minutes to pick their player here, and they have a new GM. So the GM obviously trying to use his ways now to get this Quantum team together. And as we saw, last season, Quantum made a decent run, made it to the playoffs, obviously, and they actually almost put up a big upset against the Defenders. Probably, if not one of the best series of all time in the RLSA. That Game 7 was just wild. That entire series was wild, but Quantum last season they had Rocco, obviously an outstanding player, 1700
Mm-hmm.
MMR, and then you have Chinatown, who came into the league as a 1250, and he exceeded the expectations big time. Um, Played out of his mind, and unfortunately though, was not good enough to take their team far into the playoffs. But I mean, the point where I'm trying to get here is that this team probably would look forward to getting a GC here, a solidified GC, and hopefully backing that that GC with another GC. But
Yeah.
we're only down to 4 GCs left in this draft.
I'm pretty interested to see what NXT, the manager of Quantum, ends up doing here, as they only have a one pick in the draft and no players on their roster, so they're gonna have to, I guess, pick up somebody from free agency or maybe try and trade their way to a second player. Um, so I don't know. I'm curious to see how this team ends up. But I would assume that they're going for Apple RL or Captain Walrus, as they are the same MMR at 1525 and currently tied for the highest players left in the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you? I mean, I don't know if you already said this or not. Who do you think they're gonna take here?
Well, I would guess Apple. I haven't actually. I don't know. I haven't seen Walrus play, but I know Apple's pretty solid. Um, Walrus is, I'm sure, also solid, as he's 1525. But so well into GC. But at the end of the day, it is up to them. But I'm not sure. I'm curious to find out.
Yeah, well, they have 2 minutes left here to pick a player here. So obviously thinking about it. Um, and man, this is just like it's kind of weird when you think about it. How close in skill all these players really are. I mean, and honestly, I mean, if this doesn't, prove it, I mean, this next season is gonna be wild. Every team just looks so good. Every team filled with GCs. Every team, um, I mean, it's just crazy to think 40-year-olds going against each other. Like since when does this happen?
That's true. A 1640-year-old, by the way, a GC2, and he's
Yeah,
40 years old, or
I know,
37.
I know an
That's crazy.
SSL. I know an SSL 40-year-old. If you know what I'm talking about. Uh,
Okay.
but
You?
no, because I'm not 40. um, but my coaches. Anyways, back to this draft here. The pick is in, and I like what I've just seen. So I will reveal it to you guys here with the season 13 draft. Or whoa. Okay, I'm getting tired. I'm ending the stream after this. Quantum with the 8th pick in season 13 RLSA draft. They have selected Apple.
Yeah. Yep. No surprise. No surprises there. Um, I mean, it's this draft thus far has been pretty straightforward, with most teams just picking the highest player that they can, except for the Bobcats. That one still came out of left field a little bit, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But you know, he he can do whatever he wants. But I think Apple was definitely a good pick for the Wingdings. We'll see how the
The
rest of
Wingdings. Hey, yo. Quantum?
the Quantum, my fault.
Wow. Already disrespecting his team, bro. That's crazy. But on a real note here, speaking about the Wingdings are now on the clock here, so we will await their pick. And I mean, we already saw in this draft they took creative striker, so they already have 3 people on their roster here. So they are looking to, you know what? Honestly, if we're gonna see one tonight, this could be, what am I trying to say? This could be a potential trade spot. A team could potentially trade with the Wingdings, maybe get another GC on their team. But as of right now, the Wingdings are in a good spot.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh,
Oh, I think we can all. I think he's done for. Yeah, I think he's done for. Well, with that, we're still awaiting a pick here. Man, this is kind of weird. Speaking to you guys without a co-caster. No, I'm joking. Well, we're still waiting this pick here. Very interested to see. And actually, as soon as I say that, the pick has been put in. So maybe we wait Malachi here to announce it. But
I'm here. I'm here.
okay, bro, this is so scuffed, man.
Did you, did you hear?
This
did
is
you hear
probably
me like starting to talk and then I cut out?
yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Don't worry, I've dropped 6,000 frames during this stream.
What?
I've dropped 6,000 frames, bro.
All right. So who'd they choose?
Well, if you want to know who they chose, I will tell you right now. With the 9th pick in the season 13 RLSA draft, the Wingdings have selected Ace Flicks.
Really?
And so this is kind of a smart play when you think about it. The reserve usually it can only be 1,300, um, but um, honestly they can only be 1,300. But um, Eastflix MMR fits that, so we are good. And um, what am I trying to say here? I'm focusing on like so many things at once. I can't even think straight. Malachi, you give them your thoughts while I do this real quick.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good pick given, the MMR cap on the reserve. But I am so now they have a full roster of 4 people, of which 3 I believe are GC plus Aceflix, who's pretty solid for his rank, I'm not gonna lie. I've played with him and 1300 is it's not what I would have put him at. So I still think I think he's also pretty good for his MMR. So I do think it was definitely all around just a good pick from the Wingdings.
Yeah, I mean I can agree
Um,
with you there.
yeah.
They've got their pieces what they want, and so um, yeah, I mean they're set for next season. Look out for a potential cup contender, but um, the elite have are on the clock now. They have 3 draft picks to end the night off, so potentially could be a trade. Potentially just could be, you know what? Let's get this draft over with and call it a night. So we can see what happens here. And I've actually been told that he's gonna make all the 3 picks now, so I won't waste our time going through each individual one. I will just tell you the 3 picks in a row. After we talk about a player each time, we'll talk about a player and how they can fit. But, and there it is. I've gotten all 3 players, so I will go ahead and just reveal one at a time to you guys here. So, with the 10th pick in the season 13 RLSA draft, the Elite have selected TP.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
may I just say, High Flyer being on their team here he's a 1450, so TP obviously being able to play with him. That's still a good team. Obviously on paper, the lower MMR doesn't seem good, but I mean, still, 2 GCs on your team. TP, obviously, he's been in the league before, so he has a little bit of veteran experience, although he is technically a rookie now because he didn't make the veteran redraft, whatever. We don't... I hate doing this. Just... but, yeah. Again, he's got 3 picks in a row, so it doesn't matter which order these go in, So, TP, obviously a good player. What's your thoughts, Malachi? You actually have some experience with this dude.
Yeah. I think he's pretty good. I think he's gotten better recently too. I don't know how much he's
Oh my god. Bro, I give up. Uh, I give up. I give up with this dude. Well, no need for the timer because all of his picks have been in. I'm sorry, Malachi. You probably are listening to the stream right now. I'm just going to go ahead and move to the next pick. Who cares about what you have to say about TP? So, with the 11th pick in the season 13 RLSA draft, the Elite select Captain Walrus. And I don't think Malachi's here with this one, so...
I just okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Dude, this is... I love this. This is the best stream we've ever had on the RLSA. And, it could also break a new record. I could potentially get to 10,000 drop frames. Dude, I love this, man. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream. Obviously, don't expect perfect right now. This is definitely at our lowest point of the RLSA. So, yeah, we're just going with this. But, ladies and gentlemen, may I say, we have 3 players left in the draft here. So, 2 of these players will be going to free agency. So I'll go ahead and announce the two players that will be going in free agency, and obviously the player that have made uh, the team, and also technically Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft. So, um, you ready, Malachi? You ready for this?
Yep.
With the last pick, number 12, in the season 13 RLSA draft, the Elite have selected Bulky Boy 15.
Yep, that makes sense. As I think that would have been their reserve. So that is capped at 1500 or 1300, excuse me.
Yep.
So they couldn't have picked Mr. Dark Fox as he's just a bit over the MMR cap at 1375. Um, but that does mean, of course, that two people are now going into free agency, Mr. Dark Fox being one of them.
Yeah. And well, when you look at it like this, obviously if you're a player that did not get drafted, don't be ashamed. It's just this draft was stacked. So, this is actually one of the first drafts that we've done in a while, other than like a normal draft. So, yeah, I'm glad that we had a normal draft. But, with that being said, so Mr. Dark Fox, 1375, he will be falling into free agency, and also Hawk, he is going to be falling into free agency, 1100 rated there. So, with all that being said, there's your season 13 RLSA draft. I mean, obviously, it wasn't the prettiest, wasn't the prettiest thing, but it got done.
It worked. It worked. We got through it.
Yeah, we did get through that. And oh man,
Yeah.
the only thing I can really say right now is that I'm excited.
Yeah. Definitely
Yeah.
excited to see how a lot of these teams end up turning out, especially ones that were built based on this draft, such as the Bobcats and the Volts, and I guess the Quantum as well, even though they've only got one player on their team right now. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the season ends up going for these teams, and I will say I'm honestly not that surprised at how the draft went. Like I said earlier, the one curveball I felt was Bobcats selecting Mr. E as number 3 because that doesn't fit their MMR cap. But we'll see. We'll see what Ashton's been cooking.
Yeah. I mean, just a overall recap on every single pick that happened tonight. The first overall pick, the Volts selected Albert. The second overall pick, the Bobcats got Scoops. The third overall pick, the Bobcats got Mr. E. The Eradicators had selected Nash. The Volts on number 5 have selected Jinx. Defenders got Z-Pool. The Wingdings had selected Creative Striker. Quantum selected Apple. The Wingdings also, yet again, got Ace Flicks. And then Elite finishing it all off, TP, Captain Walrus, and Bulky Boy. So, congrats to all the players that got drafted tonight. And overall, good draft. I mean, it was scuffed on the stream, but for a second, it was fun.
Yeah. Definitely.
Definitely, yes. You were disconnected. You were definitely disconnected. Well, I will wait for Malgai to come back here in a second, but, yeah. I mean, honestly, we can take a look at the rosters if you want here, just to really end it all off, as a whole. So next season, I have everybody's roster up, so we can kind of just get a picture of what's going to go on here. So this is just the starters too. So with the Amigos, Malachi and Under playing as a team. The Bandits have the Honor Knight and Caleb J. The Bobcats currently do not have technically two starters that can play together, but their current roster right now is Scoops and Mr. E. So see what happens there. The Defenders, Rich Was Found and Z-Pool. And then the Elite have High Flyer, TP, Captain Walrus. So potentially one of those guys can be flip flop there. And then the Eradicators, Nash and Gorgia and Yizzy. So, that could all change there. And then the Fire, Chase and JS Albaz. JS Albaz, obviously, coming back, not at a fair price, some would say. And then the Landers, Noka and Prowler. Definitely an exciting team to see there. Quantum only have one player on their roster right now, which is Apple. So Apple maybe looking for a new teammate there. Stars, Jodoon and Zev. So very good team there. Volts, Albert and Jenks. So that's good. And to end it all off, Wingdings with Geyser, Luke, and Creative Striker. So maybe a flip-flop we see there in that roster. But other than that, I think that is going to do it for us. Malachi, are you here with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know for how long, but I am.
Yeah. Well, we can go ahead and try and get this done fast so you can not disconnect one more time.
So true.
Well, everybody here. Again, this is a once in a lifetime RLSA stream. But no, for real though. RLSA's back. We're coming back. We're gonna have a good season. I would appreciate it if we could put everything that's gone behind the scenes behind us and just move forward into the new season. Kickoff will be happening soon. I will indeed update everybody here what's gonna go on and what we can expect here in the near future. Schedule's gonna come out and expect some updates to the streaming and scheduling. So that's all I'm gonna have to say for that. Malachi, what's your final thoughts on this draft?
Yeah, I'm really not surprised by a whole lot, as I mentioned before, but I do like a lot of the picks that the managers ended up selecting, and I think that it was a very obviously stacked draft with, I don't know, 9 or 10 GCs, something crazy like that. So I think the season's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough to say. Well, we appreciate every single one of you coming out tonight, watching the draft. It's been a very long hour, if I'm going to be honest with you, but a very fun one. And yeah, we appreciate you guys all coming out. Congrats to all the players that got drafted. And if you did not get drafted and you're here in the stream, don't worry. You'll be put on a team, I'm sure. So with all that being said, we appreciate everybody coming out. And please